The 2000s was a decade of big ideas and big risks, especially when it comes to sci-fi television. Some shows were stylish and smart, others were chaotic and completely bonkers, but they all tried something different. So in this part 2 of our deep dive into the world of forgotten sci-fi TV, we're revisiting the underappreciated cult classics of the 2000s, the land of strange tech, moody protagonists, and way too many shows canceled just as they were getting good. And just like last time, we're keeping things neat by listing the shows in chronological order. Let's rewind the time and rediscover some forgotten sci-fi gems from the 2000s. Cleopatra 2525. Set in a far-off future where the surface world is ruled by machines, Cleopatra 2525 embraced sci-fi chaos with bold style and unapologetic attitude. The show follows Cleo, an exotic dancer who wakes up 525 years in the future. Humanity is now driven underground by killer robots, and Cleo teams up with two badass freedom fighters to save what's left of the world. The show leaned hard into neon leather outfits, slow-mo action, and sassy one-liners. It was gloriously over-the-top, wildly self-aware, and honestly kind of ahead of its time in how it embraced genre absurdity. It only lasted 2 seasons, but if you're into campy sci-fi chaos with girl power vibes, Cleopatra 2525 is pure gold. Andromeda. Andromeda was a bold attempt to deliver space opera for the new millennium, and it worked, for a while at least. We followed Captain Dylan Hunt, the lone survivor of a fallen intergalactic civilization. He spends the series flying around the galaxy aboard the AI-powered starship Andromeda and trying to rebuild a crumbled Federation. The show had big ideas about politics, order, and chaos, all dressed in slick space battles, alien intrigue, and philosophical musings. Over time, it veered into messier territory thanks to creative shakeups, but it still holds a special place in the hearts of space opera fans. If you like your sci-fi with starships and brooding monologues, Andromeda deserves a revisit. Dark Angel. Before Jessica Alba was a blockbuster star, she was the genetically engineered heroine of Dark Angel, a dark, gritty, and surprisingly stylish slice of early 2000s dystopia. The show takes place in a post-apocalyptic Seattle after an electromagnetic pulse knocks out America's infrastructure. Alba plays Max, a super soldier escapee from a secret government experiment trying to live a low-profile life while dodging the agents hunting her. It had motorcycles, cyberpunk vibes, high-tech noir, and a killer industrial soundtrack. Dark Angel had the makings of a sci-fi classic, but it only lasted 2 seasons. Still, it helped launch Alba's career and left behind a cult following who remember it as one of the more ambitious network sci-fi swings of the decade. Special Unit 2. Think Men in Black, but with Chicago cops and low-budget creatures, and you've got Special Unit 2. This short-lived sci-fi comedy followed a secret division of the police tasked with handling Lynx, the mythical creatures living among us. The tone was full-on tongue-in-cheek, with plenty of one-liners, practical monster effects, and a delightfully offbeat energy that leaned more cult classic than mainstream success. While the show never took itself too seriously, it did have some genuinely fun world-building. Special Unit 2 only ran for 2 seasons, but it's one of those forgotten shows that feels ripe for rediscovery, especially if you're into supernatural sitcoms with a side of rubber suit mayhem. Firefly. Firefly is the poster child for the brilliant but canceled club. It wasn't just a sci-fi show, it was a genre-blending space western heartbreak that left fans wanting so much more. The show followed the ragtag crew of the Serenity as they smuggled, struggled, and snarked their way across the galaxy. Part cowboy western, part dystopian sci-fi, and all heart, it combined sharp dialogue, memorable characters, and a richly lived-in universe. And the ensemble cast helped make every episode feel like the start of something epic. Fox aired the episodes out of order, barely promoted it, and canceled it after just 1 season. But the fandom? Unstoppable. If you somehow missed Firefly, it's time to correct that immediately. Kyle XY. Kyle XY gave us one of the most memorable sci-fi teen mysteries of the 2000s. And no, not just because the main character didn't have a belly button. The series kicks off when a teenage boy with no memory, no name, and some seriously advanced abilities wakes up in the woods. Taken in by a foster family, he starts navigating suburban life while trying to understand who or what he really is. Spoiler, He's not exactly human. The show balanced emotional storytelling with big sci-fi twists, and Matt Dallas brought real charm to the role of Kyle. It ran for 3 seasons and ended on a massive cliffhanger, which still haunts fans to this day. Eureka. Eureka introduced viewers to a town where science experiments regularly spiraled into full-blown chaos. The show followed U.S. Marshal Jack Carter, who stumbles into a secret town where the government has stashed all its brightest minds. Carter's the everyman, surrounded by rocket scientists, time travelers, and reality-bending inventions, and he somehow ends up being the one who fixes everything when it inevitably goes haywire. It was lighthearted, quirky, and full of lovable chaos, with a cast that made the technobabble feel personal. There were wormholes, memory wipes, invisible houses, you name it. Eureka leaned into the fun side of sci-fi while still tugging at the heartstrings, making it one of the most underrated shows of its time. Primeval. Primeval was the bonkers but brilliant sci-fi series that asked, what if prehistoric creatures just started wandering into modern-day England? The answer? Pure chaos. A government team is assembled to investigate anomalies, time rifts that bring through everything from raptors to giant insects. It's part action-adventure, part monster of the week, and part soap opera, because of course there's romantic tension and workplace drama amidst the chaos. The creature effects were solid for the time, and the show wasn't afraid to get dark when it needed to. Primeval ran for 5 seasons and even got a Canadian spin-off, but it somehow still flies under the radar today. So if you like your sci-fi with teeth, literal ones, Primeval is a wild ride worth revisiting. Fringe. Fringe was a mind-bending blend of science fiction, mystery, and emotional storytelling that explored the strange edges of reality. Created by J.J. Abrams, this high-concept series followed FBI agent Olivia Dunham as she teamed up with the eccentric Dr. Walter Bishop and his snarky son Peter to investigate fringe science, everything from teleportation to alternate universes. What started as a Monster of the Week procedural quickly evolved into a sprawling epic about identity, sacrifice, and the thin line between science and madness. The show was packed with emotional arcs, creepy experiments, and some truly jaw-dropping twists. Fringe was smart, strange, and ahead of its time, and if you skipped it, you missed one of the most satisfying slow burns of the decade. Sanctuary. Sanctuary started as a web series, but quickly leveled up into one of the most unique sci-fi shows of the late 2000s. It followed a secret network that protected abnormals, mythical creatures, cryptids, and anything that would make your local zoologist faint. The show's lead, Dr. Helen Magnus herself, was over 150 years old, thanks to some mysterious scientific tinkering, and the show often flashbacks to her Victorian roots, giving it a strong steampunk meets modern tech flavor. Sanctuary was also one of the first shows to lean heavily into green screen environments and digital sets, which was both ambitious and, at times, a little janky. But what it lacked in polish, it made up for in heart, world building, and weirdness. Dollhouse. Dollhouse was one of Joss Whedon's most unsettling sci-fi projects. The concept? A secret organization wipes people's memories and uploads custom personalities into them, turning them into dolls who can be anything. A spy, a lover, a hostage negotiator, you name it. Eliza Dushku starred as Echo, a top-tier doll who starts regaining her sense of self. What followed was a twisty, high-concept exploration of identity, free will, and ethics. The first season took a while to find its footing, but the second ramped up the intensity and delivered some truly bold storytelling. Dollhouse was sleek and cerebral, a show that asked big questions in between action scenes and mind wipes. It burned bright and fast, but definitely left a mark. Honorable mentions. Before we get to our final pick, let's take a moment to shout out a few more forgotten sci-fi oddities from the 2000s. There was Surface, a deep-sea creature mystery with government secrets, glowing eggs, and a lovable sea monster baby. Codename Eternity gave us a low-budget but high-concept alien invasion thriller that was way more interesting than it had any right to be. John Doe followed a man who wakes up with no memory but all the knowledge in the world, just not who he is. And Odyssey 5 sent astronauts' minds back in time to prevent Earth's destruction after seeing it blow up. The Middleman was pure comic book chaos, full of aliens, androids, and tongue-in-cheek world-saving delivered with deadpan precision. Meanwhile, Hyperdrive gave us a very British, very awkward spacefaring comedy with Nick Frost in full bumbling commander mode. Threshold tried to stop an alien signal from rewriting humanity at the genetic level, and had Carla Gugino leading a killer cast. And Flash Forward had one of the best hooks ever. The entire planet blacks out for 2 minutes and sees a glimpse of their future. Then, things get weird. You might also remember The Secret Adventures of Jules Verne, a steampunk-flavored action series that reimagined the famous author as an adventurer. And finally, The Chronicle, a tabloid newsroom that investigated real-life monsters, mutants, and men in black, all with that early 2000s cult energy. Each one of these shows brought something strange, smart, or just plain fun to the sci-fi landscape, and they're absolutely worth rediscovering. Warehouse 13. Warehouse 13 was a fast-paced, artifact-hunting adventure where history, mystery, and science fiction collided in the quirkiest ways possible. This sci-fi series followed 2 Secret Service agents who get assigned to a top-secret government facility that stores dangerous supernatural artifacts with some serious side effects. Each episode was a mix of mystery, historical Easter eggs, and gadget-fueled chaos. What really made the show shine, though, was its tone: playful, fast-paced, and filled with character chemistry. There was action and danger, sure, but also warmth and humor. Warehouse 13 knew how to balance heart and high stakes, and while it lasted 5 seasons, it still somehow feels underrated in the bigger sci-fi conversation. Do you agree with our picks for these forgotten 2000s sci-fi shows? Are there any series you'd like to add to this list? Let us know in the comments. Check out the first part of this video on our channel, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this.